Hi and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Derek. I'm also known as ScottyLad2 on the Mr. Excel message board and, funny enough, the same name on the Excel forum. Both these forums, excellent resources if you want to know anything at all about Excel, about VBA, about formulas, about how to construct formulas. That's the Mr. Excel forum or the Excel forum. If watching videos is your thing that you'd rather watch a video to learn about it, no better place to go than onto YouTube, onto the Excel is Fun channel. Mike Girvan, he has over 1700, and that's 1700 and growing. His videos are fantastic. Between the three of these, that's most of my Excel knowledge has come from there. And the best thing about it is these fantastic resources are all free. So I'm doing this, my own reason for doing this is further my understanding of Excel, and if I can help somebody, then it means I've learnt something, and I'm happy to pass that on. Tonight I'm going to look at Vlookup. I'm going to do a couple of videos on Vlookup. The first one we're going to concentrate on is Vlookup with exact match. If we write Vlookup formula here, the arguments in Vlookup are quite straightforward. You want a lookup value, which for this sample here we say we were going to be looking up employee 5. The next argument is your table array, and for these samples this is going to be my table array around here. I've named the table array in here, so we could, if I tapped F3 right now, I've named the table array that we're going to be working on as work plan. I'll show you the dimensions of that as we go on in the formulas. Column index. When you're doing a VLOOKUP, you're always going to be looking up your lookup value in the leftmost column of your table array. So the column index is going to be something higher than 1, and the reason for that is we're looking up employee 5, he is going to be in column 1. So if we were looking for the value that's an output in the row that corresponds with employee 5, our index number for that, so we'd find look up employee 5 from within here, find in column 1, and we want to return the value that's an output, so it'd be column 2, 3, 4. So in this scenario here, our output would be 4. If we were looking for the machine number for employee 5, it would be column index number 2 would be what we were looking for. And the last argument in VLOOKUP is your range lookup. We want to find a true or a false. The true is an approximate match, and I'm going to show you a couple of samples of approximate matches in my next video. So for this video here, we're going to concentrate on false exact match. Now, whenever you're looking up text, or if you want to match a date that's stored as text, anything like that, whenever you're looking up text, essentially, you're always going to be looking up an exact match. And a further little caveat for the true and false arguments in here is 1 equals true and 0 equals false. And what I mean by that is, on your last argument, you can either write 0 or false if you want to return false. If you want to return true, you can either have 1 or true. Both mean the same. I'll show you as we're going along. I'll do an example of both. And now, just carry on with the sample. Okay, we're going to look up in this here. The boss wants this data. He likes that email to him. Whenever he asks you what's employee 4 doing, he wants you to return it in this kind of output. So first up, you'd say equals Vlookup, and what we're looking up is employee 4, but we're not actually looking up employee 4, we're looking up what is in B17. Happens to be employee 4. Now we're going to hit the F4 key because we want this locked on the column. So $sign in front of the column reference, comma, and our table array, this part here, like I said, I've already named that as work plan. So if we hit F3, highlight work plan from, this is the paste name dialog box, so if we highlight work plan and click OK, that's that pasted into this formula. Hit comma, and column index, well, the way this output is set up, employee is going to be number 1. So in this column here, I'm going to be looking for number 2 for the machine, number 3 for the panel, and number 4 for the output. So if I just put number 2, and like I says at the start, we're going to concentrate on false, exact matches only, because we're going to be looking up text in this little bit scenario here. And you can either use a 0 or you can use false. I'm going to use 0. You may want to use false, entirely up to yourself. 0, I just prefer it. I've always used 0. So hit enter on that. And you see we looked up employee 4 and we're under the column machine, and it's returning machine 4. Now if I drag that one cell to my right, now we're under panel, and at the moment it's showing machine 4. We want it to show sides. As I said, it's in column number 3, but if we look at the formula, it's still showing number 2, never incremented when we drag that to the right. So we'll change this to 3, and this time we're going to hit tab. No, we're not. We're going to hit control and enter, and again we'll drag it to the side, one cell to the right, and we're going to change that to 4. Enter. So first off, we're just going to quickly check this. It's employee 4 is in machine 4, making side panels, and output is 265. Let's change it to employee 10. Employee 10 using machine 10, he's using back panels, and he's outputted 266. So that's working fine. We'll just do one more check. We'll check employee number 1. Let's check employee number 5, right in the middle. 5 is using machine 5, that's correct. Working on back panels, so that's correct, and he's outputted 339, that's correct. Now, we went in and individually went column 2. Then we changed it to column 3. Then we changed it to column 4. Now we could have a table array of 50 columns wide, 100 columns wide. And if we want to pull data from consecutive columns along here, along the width of our 50 tables or 30 tables or sorry, columns or 100 columns, there's an easier way to do that than going in and changing 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7, etc. If we use something like the columns function, and if I just quickly go equals columns, and at the moment we're sitting in cell E19, so if we say $sign E19 shift colon E19. Now the fact that I've got this first cell here locked using the $sign in front of E19, we're going to get 1 here, but because that first cell is locked, when I take this and drag this to the right, the columns in this instance produces number 1, Control Z. When I move along to the right, you'll see it's now producing 2. E19 went to F19, and if I drag it again, it'll go E19 to G19. So the further along we drag this, the more it increments, and it's quite good to, we can lock that into the formula. So instead of having 2, 3, 4, what we're going to do is change the 2 to the columns function. So we say equals columns, and this time we're sitting in C17, so it's $sign C17. Oh, that's 19. And lock that. Now, if I did that and hit enter now, which I'll do, it'll give us the wrong answer. It gives us employee 5. That's because it's producing 1 there. From the table we're looking up, this is producing 1, and we need it to produce 2, then 3, then 4 when we drag it to the side. So if we say +1 here, then hit enter, that's it now producing the right column. And if we drag this along to the right a little bit further, and we go and we'll highlight columns and hit F9, you'll see it's now representing 4. Control Z. So within the Vlookup, that's now selecting what column we're choosing. So that's the first sample. Next we're going to go into one. Now what I'm going to do is just I'm just going to leave it there. In the second sample, this here works because we know that we're looking for column 2, then column 3, then column 4. In this sample here, the boss is going to ask you for an employee, and then he's going to tell you what he wants. He may want the output, he may want to know what machine number he's on, and he may only want to know what panels he's working on. And the way we work this one is, again, we're going to say equal Vlookup. In fact, for that, what I'll do down here, I'm going to show you what the match function does, because that's what we're going to use next. And match asks for a lookup value, similar to Vlookup. And it wants you to have a lookup array, but this lookup array has to be a single row or column that contains your lookup value. And what match does, again, we're going to have an exact match because we're looking up text. What match does is, from that array, which is here, which is 4 columns wide, from that array it's going to tell you where the lookup value is, the ordinal position of that lookup value from within that array. So panel right here is sitting at position number 3 in there. If we change it to output, you'll see it's changing to number 4. If we change it to machine, you'll see it's in number 2. So for this here, I could just copy and paste it. I'm going to do the whole formula. So we'll say equals Vlookup. We're looking up employee in B20, comma. Our lookup array is still going to be the same. Work plan, comma. But to pick the column number, we're going to use the match function, and we're going to say match this here, in this case it's going to be machine, comma, from this single row array here, comma, it's an exact match, and it's an exact match in the Vlookup. So when we look up employee 7, the match has selected column 2 from the ordinal position of the match. Looking up the word machine from here, it's position is number 2 in there. So if we change match to panel, it's looking at employee 7 and it's finding the front end panel. And again, we'll just for the last sample, we'll try the output. It should be 340, it better be 340, and it is 340. And that's what the match is doing. So when we don't know what column it is, we're going to be asked to output. That's a kind of good way using match to select what your column number. And now the last one in this little section, we're going to combine. Actually, it's a bit of a doozy. We're going to combine the offset and match function within the Vlookup this time. Now, like I say in the other ones, Vlookup requires the lookup value to be in the leftmost column of your table array. Now, in this last scenario, what the boss wants isn't in the leftmost column of the table array, but the table array isn't going to change its name to accommodate what the boss wants, so we have to find a way to work around that. So what we're doing here is we're saying equals Vlookup. Again, our lookup value is going to be here, but this time our table array is going to be contained within an offset, and the table name is still the same. We're still looking at work plan, and I'm just going to enter here the data I need to enter, and I'll explain after it what we've done here. So it's asking me, do I want to come down any rows? I'm saying no. It's asking me, do I want to go across any columns? And on this one I'm going to say 1, and then we'll close that, comma. Now the Vlookup is asking me what column index. So what we're going to do is use the match, and we're going to match that output that's in that cell there, comma, and we're going to just look, we're looking up from machine onwards here, so we'll just look up from machine onwards there, comma, and 0. And if I just quickly finish this formula, it's possibly easier to explain it. What the offset is doing is to give us our lookup value in the leftmost column. When we type in equals offset, the first part of it is offset what? Well, we're offsetting this table array called work plan. It then asks us how many rows down do you want to go. We say nothing, but if we say 1, this is what we'd have done. It would have moved our table down. So the first row there would have been omitted. But we say nothing there. It then says how many rows across you want to go. Well, we say 1. So it moved the whole table across 1. So that way it brought the leftmost column, it's moved over 1 column. We've used match here to determine from these 3 options here which, if we say panel 2, there's only 2 options. It's either going to be panel or output. So hopefully you're seeing all this. I was a bit far down my screen now, but hopefully it's all visible now. So there you have it, 3 examples of VLOOKUP. First one, looking up an employee, returning a set number of values that are predetermined. Second one, we combined it with match because we didn't know what the boss was going to choose as his column number. And then the last one, we had to move the whole table, and we used offset to do that. Offset the whole table by one column to the right, so that we could then have our matching lookup value in the leftmost column. Any questions, any further examples wanted, email me at derek_mac@sky.com. The next video that I've got set up, if I unhide these columns here, we're going to look at the approximate match. I'll hide these here at the road. This video will have a link to this spreadsheet, which is downloadable from my YouTube channel. And the next sample, we will have a look at approximate match and why you would use it. But as I say, any questions, give me an email, derek_mac@sky.com.